Hola, this is Bear Rabbit, and I gotta tell you, I find a great laughing place listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel. Zippity-doo-dah!
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You are listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libations.
Feel it, feel it.
We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff, and this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. For this show, we discuss Bob Iger's contract extension in the queue. And look, this isn't your typical polished, practiced, pixie dust and Disney podcast. No way. We will not be going to Walt Disney World every week to give you a rundown of how the upcoming merger between Mears Connect and Sunshine Flyer ground transportation companies is going.
That's right, Kev. We're here to drink, talk some Disney, and tell you why Bob Iger wishes he knew how to quit you.
That's right. Well, just keep listening up, and you don't need a 2-year extension for that.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
I'm Rachel.
And as always, we hope everyone in the weekend land had a great week. How's everybody doing in studio today?
Doing good.
Yeah, recovering.
Yeah, I saw you hobbling around without your boot.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm getting around a little bit better.
That's good, man. In a few weeks, you'll be walking around Walt Disney World, no problem.
Ooh, no problem.
I don't know about no problem.
I'll carry you if we going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, well, you know, he would do it for me. But he's lighter than me. Yeah.
I need a new foot and a new back for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
We had a disappointing theme park experience this week.
What?
Whoa, where?
Yeah.
Six Flags?
No, we have a theme park up here, a local one called Storyland.
We have a Storyland.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a unique name. It's pretty, I've heard of a lot of different Storylands.
Creepy.
I love Storyland. We've been going for a decade. My kids love it. And I mean, I haven't just been going for a decade. I've been going my whole life.
Sounds like our Storyland, yeah.
Yeah, I've been living in New Hampshire my whole life and been visiting every summer. And my kids were really excited to go, and we've been really busy. And so Josh took a half day off of work, and we decided we were going to go up for the afternoon and hit some. They have like one of those deals where if you go after 2:00, you get another day of admission free. So we're like, we'll do
nice
the
deal.
afternoon and evening, and then we'll come back another day for real.
Nice.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half away from us. So we get all the way up there, and the parking lot is empty, like really empty.
Oh, this sounds like vacation.
I was about to say.
Closed. It was.
It is like vacation. There's nobody at the front telling you, right?
Sorry, folks.
Yes, that is what happened. It wasn't a moose at the front, but it was a parking dude looking very smug.
Oh, that's the worst.
Did Josh pull out a gun and make him put you on the rides? And
He did not. But it was like the saddest thing because my son, like, as we started to get close, he was like, guys, there's going to be a red light and then we're going to turn right. And then the next thing we see is Storyland. And he's like counting down the seconds till we see it.
Aww.
And we see it and it's closed and we can't go in. But like never, this place it's New Hampshire. So it's only open halfway through June through the first week of October. And it's not even open weekdays in September because everyone goes back to school. So we're talking about this place is open like 2.5 months a year. And now they're taking every Tuesday off.
what?
Every Tuesday off.
They're closed every Tuesday.
Was your little son devastated?
Yeah, he cried. It was a real bummer.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
that little boy's a trip. I mean, he makes
I know. And we had driven all that way. Like, what a bummer.
Wait. How far did y'all drive? It's New Hampshire. It couldn't have been that far, right?
Well, she said it was an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's like just like from here, just past Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real bummer. So kid was really sad. My daughter was sad too, although not quite as sad, but she's older though. And so I'm just like struggling, like what can we do instead that will be fun? For some context, we have had terrible weather here in New Hampshire, really bad. And this was the most beautiful day we've had all summer.
Oh.
And the only thing I can come up with is a movie. So we spent the most beautiful afternoon of the summer so
Indoors.
far
Oh.
in a movie theater. But we saw Spider-Verse. The kids have been looking forward to.
Nice.
very
I want to
nice.
see that. Yeah, that's
Very
good.
nice.
That's
was fun.
awesome.
Well, that's cool. I would have said escape room. But that may be a little bit too mature, right?
If they have escape room, I don't know,
Oh,
in that area.
Yeah,
think so,
I don't know
huh?
if they have them.
I don't think it's too mature. We've done that.
oh,
with
we've
some of
gone
the
with
little kids.
we've gone with Lil and her friends, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, look, they rely on us a little bit, but they saw
They
quite a
pull
few-
some stuff out.
Yeah, but I'd say they could probably see some things that we don't as adults. Yeah.
Yeah, they go and do their own little thing. And they come back. We're like, oh, we don't even know what that's for, but we'll figure out how to make that work. So
So did y'all drive back and saw your movie, or saw a movie while you were up there?
No, we saw it while we were up there, and then we went out to dinner up there. So we made a little bit of a day of it, but they really liked Spider-Verse, and so did I.
no, that's all.
I still want to see that. Maybe I'll do that
Yeah.
this weekend while the wife's away.
It was
I'll
worth
have
it.
to
It was
check
good.
it out.
The graphics were so cool.
It looked cool in the trailer.
The first one was good.
The first one was
first
cool
one was
too.
very
It
I
was
thought
just
that was
as
great.
good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. I thought it was just as good.
Yeah, like I mentioned, my wife's out of town at the convention, so it's just me and the girls, and so but they are finishing up their theater camp in the music.
Nice.
A musical theater camp this summer, and they've been working on the musical Little Mermaid Junior of all
Nice.
things.
Little Mermaid Junior.
Yeah,
Junior.
it's basically an hour version of the story. So it's like all the hit songs and a bit of the dialogue compressed into an hour. So that's what makes it
Really the
Junior.
best way to see it.
Yes.
What are their parts in the?
Oh, they're sea creatures.
Sea
So
creature.
yeah, I mean, this is their first camp, so they're not getting one of the top roles yet.
Oh,
Okay,
but
they gotta
they're
work up to it.
what
totally
you know,
political.
Yeah, in what theater world they call like chorus, the background chorus. But they're on
Yeah.
stage. They're always in front. At the end of the Under the Sea number, they're out in front doing this with jazz hands.
Yeah.
They're pointing at Ariel and stuff. And so it was cool. I saw it for the first time today. They had a performance last night, and so while the wife's away, I'm driving them all around to their little hour performances all weekend. So which is great. It's not too problem.
Not
Right.
bad.
I get to hear all the different music and see the show like 3 more times.
Because that's when I fell in love with the music of the Little Mermaid. I remember working at a summer camp when I was a volunteer when the Little Mermaid came out, and we had a summer camp, and they did Under the Sea, and by the time they finished practice, I knew every word to Under the Sea. Mermaid had become one of my favorite because you had to watch it with the choreography and whatnot, and getting them to do what they needed to do. So it's good music.
Man, this thing's awesome. Mm-hmm. And then also I finished up a production of The Little Shop of Horrors, whose music was written by the same people.
Yeah.
I love Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite musicals.
It's
Yeah,
written by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, same 2 people that did Little Mermaid. In fact, there's a song in Little Shop of Horrors that's very much like, I'll have to do a show on this, very much like Part of Your World.
Which song is that?
It's Somewhere That's Green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and at some
I know
point
that
we had
one.
to stop in the middle of the number because something went wrong, and then the rest of the cast started singing Part of Your World.
I could see that.
Which was
I could
hilarious.
totally see that. Yeah.
I started laughing. I think I was the only one that guffawed when they went into that. But anyway, so that's how my week's been, and my weekend will continue to be. But yeah, it was good. It's a good Disney week, I should say.
That's great, man.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, enough of our jibber jabber because we got a lot of stuff to talk about regarding Iger and his extensions. Sorry, he doesn't have extensions. Be kind of weird. That'd be awesome if you did that, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Party in the back.
He's fake enough for it.
Iger is going to be with us till the end of 2026. So, man, let's go talk about it right now. Welcome to The Q, the segment in which we get to discuss all the news and happenings in the world of Disney today. Now, we are recording this on Friday, July 14th, and as I stated at the beginning of the show, the big news of this past week in the world of Disney is that the board has unanimously approved a 2-year extension for Bob Iger to remain as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Now, originally, Iger was slated to step down towards the end of 2024. This extension now puts his departure at the end of 2026, roughly a little over 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years later. Iger said in a statement that he agreed to stay on longer because, and I quote, there is much more to accomplish before this transformative work is complete. And he wanted to ensure Disney is strongly positioned when my successor takes the helm. Now, many news outlets suggest that this gives Disney some breathing room to find his successor. The same news outlets also report that shares climbed 1.5% in early pre-market trading on Thursday due to this news. Although, NBC reports that little has happened to Disney shares because of this, and that the stock has actually only gone up 1% year to date. However, CBS News reports that shares rose 30 cents or 0.3% in the early afternoon trading on Thursday. So again, guys, curate your news carefully.
Yeah, news kind of just tells the narrative they want to tell. It really does.
And they just throw quotes in there without context because a lot of these things are just separate sentences. And, you know, if you guys have been listening to the show, I like to pull up a lot of different links and stories to make sure that somewhere in there I can find the truth. And for this particular thing, I pulled, 8 different stories on the subject. And I had to throw the thing about shares and the stock in there because it's like, why is this sentence by itself? And then as I got to dig, everybody had their own spin on it. And I was like, okay, calm down, guys. Like Cristiano Ronaldo would say, comma. Mark G. Parker, chairman of the Walt Disney Company, had this to say about the extension. All right, chairman, guy that got put in, right?
The guy from Nike, right?
The guy from Nike, yes.
Gotcha.
This guy.
Okay, yeah.
And I quote this because it's straight from the Disney website, the Disney board website. And I quote, "Time and again, Bob has shown an unparalleled ability to successfully transform Disney to drive future growth and financial returns, earning him a reputation as one of the world's best CEOs." Ooh. Holy that is a statement.
High praise.
Yes. And I continue to quote, "Bob has once again set Disney on the right strategic path for ongoing value creation. And to ensure the successful completion of this transformation while also allowing ample time to position a new CEO for long-term success, the board determined it is in the best interest of shareholders to extend his tenure, and he has agreed to our request to remain chief executive officer through the end of 2026, end quote.
With all that butt kissing that dude's doing, I hope you don't kiss his mama with that mouth.
Chocolatey. And it was unanimous butt kissing, too.
There's a lot of butt
Unanimous voting, yes.
Well, you mean the same board that Iger appointed?
Go figure.
Yeah.
How about that?
Board's a strategist.
That's kind of like their questionnaires when they, it's like, hey, we interviewed the guests and they said they want this.
I mean,
And there you go.
He's right under Thanos as far as a strategic bad guy.
Does he have the gems, though?
He does.
Let's see, Marvel, Pixar, Disney.
That is a gauntlet.
He has the gauntlet.
He has the gauntlet. Interesting.
He doesn't know what to do with all of it at the same time as what happens when you have too much power.
So you're suggesting where's our Iron Man that's going to save us from this tyranny?
I mean, may as well go down there and get that Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet for $19.95, whatever it costs.
Yep.
Just go up there and show them how it's done.
The little plastic thing in Disney.
Get your head stuck in there.
It makes a clack clack sound.
Yeah,
Cute.
saving the day for him. Yeah, I get it.
Well, anyway, guys, I would like to remind the Moika Nation that Iger reassumed the position of CEO the weekend before Thanksgiving 2022. I feel like we just did this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we recorded a show back then. Very not much long ago. Iger Watch, yes.
It.
And as expected, Danny made some awesome points, as you ought to do.
Oh,
yes, very
quite
much
prophetic.
so.
I've got my own little Nike guy on the board right here.
I know. I don't have as much money though. So I'm sorry, I can't help you with your August trip.
Oh,
Yeah, I can buy you a scooter though.
well, you've already helped enough with that.
Oh man. Anyway, look, this is one of the awesome points that you made. And I had to pull this from that because I swear we just did this, and I thought this was funny, and I thought this was kind of apropos for now.
I think I said it in the group. This is like killing off Snoke and running into the open arms of the Emperor.
Save me!
As the story that Disney has portrayed in the Star Wars universe, the Emperor persists, as we can see.
He does, yes.
Which I thought was interesting. And Iger's doing the same thing. And there's another quote that I pulled about Iger's issues with succession, which I thought was apropos for this show.
Okay.
Here we go.
Notoriously, Bob Iger, he's had trouble with succession. We do know that.
Successing?
Yes, all that.
Iger stuck around. How many times was he supposed to retire? When he supposed to retire, like back in 2006?
Yep.
And he just kept sticking around. And all of a sudden you know what? Pandemic coming. I didn't see that coming. You know what? I'm out. Take back. This is your take over, bro. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
That was a good time for me to bow out. Very, very sage, just like looking forward, and here we are with the extension. How about that?
Deja vu all over again.
Yeah, so that was Officer Mohican, or I'm sorry, Captain
Cajun.
Captain Cajun, yes.
Cajun Chavez.
That's right. That was him on the show, and we'll have him one day. I know, Rachel, he wants to be on the show with you one day, so hopefully we'll get the chance
that would
to
be
do
great.
We'll get him up here. But anyway, I listened to that show because in preparation for this, I was like, oh, I listened to this one question that Danny posed, and I thought this was also appropriate for what we did. So this is what Danny asked back on that show back in Thanksgiving 2022.
Speaking of speculation, what would Iger have to do to kind of win you over right now? Like, if there was like the top 2 or 3 things that Iger could do, what would win you over?
So this is where I kind of like to start the discussion, because so far we've had this time. It's only been since the end of November to now. And
oh, wow.
My first question, there's 2 questions. My first question is, has he won you over with what he's done so far?
That's a tough,
He's ran off everyone from the park, so I have fewer wait times to have to worry about, lesser time spent in line. So
that is true. We did have a good time.
Yeah, nobody in the park when we went, so yay?
Yeah, with a question mark. I love it.
Guess. If there's one good thing he's done, yes, he's killed attendance. I don't know how well that does for the stockholders and the Disney company, but as a fan, yeah, it's much better to go to the parks when you don't have to wait that much in line.
Well, back when you played that, I don't even know what my answer would have been.
Oh, I have it if you want to hear it.
Past Eli and future Eli, we don't need to beat.
I bet past Eli was pretty good.
Yeah, he varies from time to time.
It was good.
But I was going to say the only thing that, and I know we covered this in one of the shows, is how he handled the whole DeSantis thing. I thought that was pretty genius.
You like that? Yeah.
Yes, because in one sense, and I know we don't need to down, but to say that Disney is its own entity as far as entertainment, and that's the kind of stuff that we cover as to how they could be a better entertainer. That's good. But once you're getting like politics coming in here and then saying, hey, you need to be at this platform and your word needs to be this, I like the way he was able to defend the company and then kind of get this dude off DeSantis, that is kind of like off the back for a bit. That won me over a little bit. But, that was like...
that situation is still going on.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I mean, I think that's part of... we could get into this later, but I think that's part of the reason why they kept him as well. Kind of,
to finish the fight?
It's hard for your house to be robbed when you know there's a big dog on the porch. There you go.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Rachel? Has he won you over?
I liked Eli's point. I think that Bob Iger is doing a much better job handling the DeSantis factor than Bob Chapek was.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if he's had a lot of time to make a lot of changes that are exciting to me, or I guess he has had some time. He really hasn't made them. I do remember a story we covered a little while ago about Imagineers saying that they feel like they had more freedom under Iger, that they're getting more of their plans like put forward. There's like less red tape.
They're feeling heard, I guess you would say.
Yeah, they're feeling heard. I forget what story that was in relation to, but I remember us talking about Imagineers feeling like now that Iger's back, they are able to do a little bit more of their work. One of those guys that had left came back. Remember that? One of the head Imagineers. I can't remember his name. Yeah, so we haven't really seen a lot from that, revival of Imagineering, but I'm really hoping that when D23 comes around at the very beginning of September, which is actually not that far away, just a couple of months, that we might have some things to look forward to.
We need them.
Yeah, we definitely need them. Yeah. As far as me, what I think, I don't want to sound too weak on this, but I feel like it's too early to tell if he's done enough to win me over. I'm encouraged by what he's done so far, but to me, this feels like, I've gone on 3 dates with this girl. God, I want to marry her.
That's happened before.
That's kind of early, right? To determine whether or not he's done. Yeah, I mean, love is love. Yes, sure.
What if she's built really well?
Sure, but still at the same time, it's like, man, you haven't had enough time to prove any worth. But apparently, it's enough for like the board to like, hey, put a ring on it.
Well,
for a little bit.
They were already
at least for
married
another
to
2
him,
years.
though.
Yeah,
they were already married to him. It's not like the first date.
I don't know. Let's do a show in 2 years and see if he's actually leaving.
But well, that's
I might be playing the same damn clips again.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave. You were about to.
Yeah, no, I was going to say maybe I answered this question in too sarcastic of a manner and didn't give it the thought. Like, y'all guys are taking that question seriously. Like, has he won you over within the what's it been, like 8 months?
Yeah,
I guess since this has happened. I was being a little flippant by saying, yeah, he killed attendance in the parks. So there's that.
But I think that's a valid observation, though, because it's persisting throughout the summer.
Right. Well, I think some of that's his fault. Some of that is more economic. Some of it is,
Yeah.
Well, he's not worried if he's not worried about it.
No, I heard that. But I mean, has he? I'm trying to think if he's done anything, like he's really done. Like, I'll tell you this: the changing of Genie Plus to being a by day fluctuating price schedule where you're paying per part, that is a nightmare. They brought back the dining plan. That was a good thing, but
not back yet. They talked about it. It's not back yet.
Yeah,
they talked about it.
But upon looking at what he's proposing to do and the price, it just, I don't know. I'm still having trouble seeing how this is going to be of value. I just don't. And what recently he just said that he's fine with the price point the way it is. The pricing's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's fine. He's like that little puppy dog with the fire behind him. Yeah, everything's fine.
It's okay. It's just good.
The movies that have come out in that time frame has not been anything memorable.
Or the Disney Plus series and stuff is not anything like super like, oh my gosh.
So like, I mean, I'm trying to be sincere because y'all seem to take the question a little bit more sincere than I did.
But I thought it was valid, though. I thought that was a very valid observation. You know?
Yeah. Like, when I was asking at the time, I think my answer to that question would have been like, make Disney a little bit more affordable. I don't remember exactly what I would have said, but I think that's where I would have gone. Increase capacity in the parks, that kind of thing.
Sure.
No, I liked your answer about less attendance. It was easy to get through.
Well, yeah, but that's not. I don't think that's exactly what they want to be happening right now.
But it sounds like he's earned for everybody. It sounds for all of us here. It sounds like he's earned a little bit of clout, but I don't think it's enough fully win you over. Like, yes, he's the man. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe a Scotia clout.
Right. Yeah.
I was happy with his response to the whole DeSantis thing, and that's kind of died down a little bit.
It'll be back.
Yeah, it'll come back, sure. But beyond that, for what he's actually done, this is a disappointment to me. I mean, this is a huge disappointment.
Not a lot for fans, I guess, but I have heard anecdotally that cast members are happier.
Which it's
and
good.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that trickles down, we hope.
Is that the woke cast members or just any cast members?
Yeah, I think from what I'm not a cast member, so I don't know. But from what I have heard, from what I have heard, it's just kind of overall. People seem to be a little bit more hopeful, a little bit happier than they were under Bob Chapek. They feel a little more inspired.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
That is good. I think that Iger's always done a good job of maintaining a relationship with the cast members. He's done really, really good at that. He's always been a good. I don't know what happened in this last interview. He got a lot of flack for a lot of his answers in this recent interview that he did.
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
Which is one of the things that we said about Chapek in comparison to Iger. That Iger was very careful with his words and knew not to incite
further investigation into something he don't want to know a piece of.
Mm-hmm. Right. He didn't make people mad over some of his comments, whereas Chapek would just stumble his way into a hornet's nest whenever he opened his mouth.
Yeah.
Fun times, though. Fun times for Chapek.
Oh, man.
But when you're sitting there saying when the average family of four can't afford to go to Disney World, the price point's fine, that, people aren't showing up because it's a little hot out. Yeah, you might be ticking off a few people out there who are like, this guy doesn't see the problem.
Yeah, so I priced it out for this family looking for one day at Hollywood Studios. 2 adults, 3 kids, and it was $950, a little bit over, actually. So you're talking about almost $1,000 for a family of 5 to spend one day at Hollywood Studios. Because remember now, the parks are priced differently each day. So Magic Kingdom is the most expensive, and then Hollywood Studios, and then Epcot and Animal Kingdom.
That's me. Yeah, that's me, family of 5.
Uh-huh. And that's not taking into account Genie Plus. That's not taking into account individual lightning lanes,
food,
fix menus.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so then they were interested in Park Hopper. I looked that up. That was almost $1,300 for one day for a family of 5 for a Park Hopper.
Well, I'm getting a heart attack for this family right now here.
Man. Now, I don't want to scare people off. If you do a package with a longer stay and more days, you're not paying that much per day. The price goes down as you continue to add more days on. So a 5-day ticket per day is not going to be $1,300 per day.
But if I'm a DVC person, though, with even though I'm staying in a hotel, it sounds like I'm paying like $1,000 for a day, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you got a longer ticket, so like if you got a 5-day ticket, you would be paying less per day than what I just said. So those prices per day that I just said, the $1,300 for a park hopper, that's if you only buy one single day ticket. But if you buy a longer length ticket, the price is, each additional day is less expensive.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, but doesn't that only start if you go up to 4 days?
It mostly starts at 4 days. It does reduce even at 2 days, but not very much. Right. You're not going to see a big difference. But at 4, 5, 6 days, especially, you start seeing adding each additional day becomes a negligible cost.
All right, so now that we've kind of addressed that question from November 22, and it sounds like all of us up until this point, up until Friday, July 14th, 2023, he's established some clout, which it sounds like, but it doesn't feel like he's completely won us over yet, because it doesn't feel like there's enough time. I open the floor to any comments about this story. What do you guys think about his extension through the end of 2026? I mean, are you surprised? Do you feel bad? Or are you just like,
No, I'm not. This is about as surprising as Disney losing money on another live action remake.
Is it more? Is it like, oh yeah, he got extended? Whoopee, yeah. Is it like that, or is it like?
It's more depressing than it is anything else. Now, certainly shocking. Like, look, to be fair, is 8 months enough time to find a worthy successor? Probably not. But he still has well over a year left in his contract.
No, exactly. That's what I was saying with my comment about, like, I've been dating her for a little bit. I'm gonna put a ring on it right away. You have all this time to do a successor. Well, why extend now?
Well, but that's where the depression, I think, comes in, because when he signed that contract in 2022, I think it was November 2022.
Yeah.
When he signed that contract in 2022, didn't he say that finding a successor was going to be his and the board's number one priority?
Yeah, because he didn't do it right first time.
So when you hear that he is being extended well into 2026, it makes it sound like that search isn't necessarily going very well. And when you take into account his history, this just sounds like more of the same old.
He has trouble with successing, as you past Danny said.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to say. So that's why this is depressing, because for those who are unfamiliar with his history of contract extensions, the man had 4 contract extensions?
Many.
At least 4 in his first 15 years as CEO. He extended his contract at least 4 times that I can remember. And throughout that entire time, he swore up and down they were searching for a replacement. And meanwhile, candidate after candidate would come in, they would leave, they would go. And Bob just never found anybody they felt was worthy of the throne. Well, until a worldwide pandemic came along that pretty much threatened to destroy the very way Disney does business.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, then he was out.
Goes to show how little I know about the world of business. I guess I should have taken a class or something, because just stupid me, I would think that in the middle of a worldwide epidemic that is threatening to destroy every revenue stream you have available, that would be the worst time to switch veteran leadership to the new, unproven, inexperienced rookie. But no.
You're right. Yeah. But if you don't want your record smudged, right?
And that's what we're talking about here.
You buy out.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that was the whole point of the sarcasm, is that it just speaks to a consistent pattern of, it's not about the company, it's about me. Yeah. It's about my legacy. It's about me maintaining control. 8 months in, still a year and 4 months left on the deal, and we're already throwing in the towel and being like, no. We need at least until 2026 to find a successor. No, this board is loyal to him.
He's one of the world's best CEOs.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
At this point, they got to bring in the sword and the stone.
I agree.
Yes, yeah.
I like that analogy.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, how hard is it, really? I'm not trying to undervalue what CEOs do. I'm sure it's an incredibly hard job. I know it is. I read his biography, his memoir, and I can appreciate all of the work that he does and how hard it is. But I don't know. It's not like there's some kind of unique quality to being a CEO that no one else possesses. I feel like the board sees Bob Iger as this like irreplaceable human being. And I think he's good at his job, clearly. I mean, he's great at his job. He's been reliable. He's been so good for the company. So many good things have happened. But this seems, it's a CEO, folks. He's not a god. Like, we're not looking for a deity here, like there's got to be other people that are qualified. There's got to be other people that have ideas. You know, I don't know a ton about him, but Josh D'Amaro seems very energetic. He seems like he has vision. I know he's a parks guy, so that's part of why I like him. I think he cares about the parks a lot. But there's got to be people out there that can pick up the reins and move forward. I just think Iger's having a hard time letting go. I think the board likes him. They feel comfortable with him.
They make money because of him.
The stock market's not doing well right now overall. And so I think it's like a little security blanket. They're just going to keep it a little longer, which is fine. It's just a bummer because I don't think a lot's going to change. I don't think we're going to see a lot of new development or new energy until after.
I couldn't agree more.
And that's the thing. It's like with this universe, they're all looking for the next Walt.
Right.
They're not thinking about the next Roy, which
or
usually
even Eisner.
That's where my point's going. It's like there's always two. Like it's like kind of like Sith. Mm-hmm. You have to have the creative and you have to have the businessman. It was Walt and Roy, and that's what made it happen. And then for Eisner, it was him and what was his
Frank Wells.
Frank Wells. Thank you. It was Eisner and Wells. It's Iger and
Iger.
Yeah,
that's how big his ego is. Two of them.
I think it could be Josh D'Amaro, but
could be, but he hasn't. It hasn't come forth. Like it's like when we say Eisner Wells, it's like it's Eisner Wells. No, period. And when Wells left, it all went to hell because that balance was out of whack.
But you knew the roles. Like Walt was the creative guy, Roy was the financial guy, Michael was the creative guy, Frank was the financial guy.
Yeah, made it work.
Bob Iger is not a creative. He can say it as much as he wants to say it. He is a poor creative. His idea of creativity is, I like that. I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah, steal it.
He's out of balance. If he had somebody on the opposite side, like Frank Wells, like Roy Disney, maybe he could be continuing that legacy.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying he needs a creative.
That's what I'm saying. No, he's not a creative. Yeah, right. He has to have a
He needs to
be in balance. Is my point. You have to have the creative in business. And I was going to make this point earlier. It's like, yeah, none of us are business people, but at the same time, that's what balances business people is the creatives. You can't have one without the other, or else in this case, this is what you have. So Iger is definitely not the creative person, which is fine as long as you bring in a creative person to balance your business person out.
There can't be a lack of creative people at the Disney Corporation. I think about people who are creative, who are artists, who are visionaries. They want to work for Disney. They must be there.
He got rid of the hugger.
Yes.
I thought he was going to be a great balance, but nope.
Yeah.
The problem with what you just said, Rachel, I believe is that, I believe there are creative people there, but I think there is a overall directive that handcuffs them from being truly creative. I mean, I think there had to be better ideas on the books for Galaxy's Edge, don't you?
I mean, I think there was. We talked about it.
Yeah.
There was. None of it came from fruition.
None of it came to fruition. In your mind, you can concoct a better idea of what Galaxy's Edge could have been than what we got. 2 rides. One of them's a simulator. The other one's amazing. A bar that you got to stand up in. And
the amazing ride is not being kept up.
No signature dining established. Yeah, it was really not put together well. So I think there are creative people there. I think it's the directive. I think that there are a lot of people working for Disney that would rather do anything else than to retell the same old classic tales and doing these live action remakes. I mean, say what you will about Michael Eisner with his direct to DVD sequels that he would do to classic, movies, but at least it was going to DVD.
It was something,
yeah. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars on in the marketing and everything that goes into these movies that consistently lose money.
And that's the thing. It's like, I feel like they have to get a creative on board. If Iger's going to stay, or if they replace Iger with a businessman, they have to get a creative on board that has the same level of power as the business person in charge. That's the only way that it'll work. You can't have the creative guy or whoever's below him, whether the business guy and you have a creative guy, be the subordinate. There has to be equals.
It will never work.
Good luck.
Bob Iger would never give that up. Not in a million years.
And that's the thing. It's like, if Disney, if y'all are choosing a successor, you got to recognize that that's what makes your company tick, is that having that balance between creative and business. Because at the same time, I love being creative, but you can't have all creative because nothing will ever get done.
Right.
You got to have the business person to help keep things on track, because creative people are just not business savvy, and that's not our job to be business savvy. I'm speaking that as a creative person myself, but you have that balance, and who knows, maybe at the end of 2026, Iger will announce a duo. This is the tag team
This is
matchup.
us for the championship.
It's going to take over Disney Company.
He finds his Garfunkel.
Oh boy,
This is the Simon and Garfunkel, the Hall and Oates. You know,
Oh, man.
whatever you want.
the animal and Hawk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would hope so, but I would also say like to your successor point. I mean this whoever the new group of new mutants would be to go ahead and steer this ship here, right? I mean they would have to know a good deal about everything. Like in other words,
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I would think so.
Michael Eisner, when he came over, didn't know anything. He was just working in movies.
Yeah, it's fair. And like in Iger before he comes and takes over, right?
He's
he
the
called
weatherman.
Right? But now
He worked in TV a little
yeah,
bit.
I mean, a little bit. But I would think that, I guess my point is to say that there's now a little more multifaceted, right? You got
Yeah.
parks, you've
More
got
complicated.
Yeah, it's more complicated. Thank you, Rich. That's a better word
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
way more complicated. So if you have a CEO that's like the head of Mattel, and he's like, yeah, I know all the stuff about He-Man and all the toys, and kids like toys. Yeah, okay, well, what are you going to do? You like sports? No, I don't like sports. Okay, well, you got a problem now because we own ESPN. What are you going to do about that? I don't know. All right, you're fired. You know what I mean? So this guy has made it so complex that they cannot really be one person that comes in to succeed him unless he really does take the time and show them every aspect of that business that he has done. And he may not know it completely himself.
No, you make an interesting point because any good businessman will make a data-driven decision.
Yes, that's what,
And if you
that's
don't
all it
know
is.
about say you don't know about sport, well, you're going to keep it viable so long as the data supports the fact that you should make the decision to support it.
Right.
But the minute it doesn't, we got to cut it.
But now again, like the guy that is the Mattel CEO or whatever, right? Because I read that he or that person is in the running.
It'd be the most awesome Disney toys ever.
I mean, yeah, I guess like Mickey Mouse be all bucked up with a sword and stuff. I would go and see that, absolutely. But I don't know how that would translate for a stakeholder, or someone who's like, how do I make money off of this? Because that, like we've already stated before, that seems to be one of the biggest factors here is how much money can be generated post-pandemic, post whoever was ahead of this dude. And that's part of the reason why I think, amongst other things, but in this case, talk just about the successors, I think that's why they keep him. They don't trust anyone else. And there's not going to really be anyone else that learns that model because this is the only guy that stole the model.
Well, I think that there's a bit of truth to that, to the sense that, that people feel comfortable with him. They do believe that he's the only one that can do this. And I also believe that they know their pockets are going to get lined and their wallets will always be full as long as Bob's taking care of them. But at the same time, do you really think Bob Iger reads every script? Do you think he knows how to animate a fish? It's like, you don't need to know every aspect of it. You're not going to. Now, as time goes on, you're going to catch on more and more, but you got to trust the people working under you at some point in time and just make good overall business decisions based on what you should go forward with.
I mean, this dude's doing so much crazy stuff. I mean, he get more extensions than a bald-headed stripper at the club right now getting some hair. You know what I mean? Come on.
That's part of
Yeah, I said that.
a bald-headed stripper.
Yeah, and extensions.
He's
got
got more
an
extensions than the
But
bald-headed
she's bald-headed.
stripper at the clip. Yeah.
What is she attaching the hair to?
That's what makes
that
it
lace
fun.
front. She got that lace
She got
front.
that one piece of curl that they make it work. They kind of slick and then attach all the extensions.
It's
to
those loose sides she's got
Just
going
got
on.
all that.
That
You
went
asked-
somewhere.
It's
Anyway,
about
sorry,
extensions. What do you want?
You need to stop going to Visions.
I need to get my eyes checked some more.
For you Mookins out there, Visions is a cheap New Orleans locals club where people hang out. It's not as expensive and it's not as
And
pro.
they serve good lunch. What do you want?
But looking at this pragmatically, I mean,
Yeah.
Bob Iger is a 72-year-old multimillionaire. He's run Disney for 15 years. How hungry do you really think he is to prove himself at this point? I mean, really,
That's a good point.
he's already proven that he's a good CEO as it pertains to the shareholders. He knows how to monetize assets. I don't know that he's ever proven that he can cultivate true creativity amongst his
peeps.
Yeah, his peeps. Yeah, but I do think he's an excellent businessman. But at 72 years old, is your finger really on the pulse of what younger people... I mean, this is all about family entertainment. His kids are all grown. Some of the best attractions we've ever gotten at Disney was because some younger executive took their even younger kid down to Imagineering, and they were like, I like that.
Oh, that's Eisner.
That's-
That's the story about Eisner. Yeah.
Eisner, yeah, with Splash Mountain. There was... what was
Star
it?
Tours.
Star
Star
Tours
Tours,
was another
yeah,
one.
exactly.
Tom Staggs brought his kid to see New Fantasyland. The kid's like, there's nothing to do for boys. And that's how he ended up with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Because everything was, Aurora and Belle and Ariel and Pixie Hollow and all this.
Because they make money.
Exactly. And not one single executive thought enough to say, yeah, what about the boys? What are they going to do? And so sometimes being of that age where you're young enough, where you're still in touch with what Bob Iger is not in touch with what the public wants anymore.
Dan, you raise a great point, because part of that whole transaction process that you were just speaking about between the young and the old requires the old to listen. Maybe Iger is not listening, or maybe he doesn't have anybody to listen to, or maybe he does and he's not listening.
He doesn't have a hearing aid?
Which is, well, no, I mean, not just literally listening, but just like actually hearing the person. Maybe there's like a grandkid that's speaking, but he's not hearing the idea or something. I don't know.
Or he's just too overworked with everything. I mean, everything that he's managing.
Yes, I would go
I can
for
see that. Yeah,
I would
Keeping the ship
go
afloat.
for that.
Yeah,
that's a lot to juggle.
There's just no way. And he just doesn't trust anybody else to step up there because he's afraid to give up his position.
That's funny, though. Like his grandson's like, I got an idea for your grandpa. Like, hey, tell you a CEO, I ain't listening to a word you say, kid.
Give me a beer.
Go on there. Go ahead, fetch my shoes and newspaper.
Well, it's not even about seeing an idea. It's about just having a perspective, because Bob Iger is not the person these attractions and these movies are being made for.
That is very true.
He is not the target audience.
No. He just knows, well, in his peak, he just knew, hey, let's just get all this property, and then we'll just suck it up like Monopoly, and then we're good. And then what ended up happening is everybody was like, wow, you have all this stuff. How will you expand these stories? How will you make this happen? And the one thing he has not done, unless you guys tell me different, he's never used the creators of said property, like the people that actually built it before it got to him, and said, hey, let's see what you guys do with it, because you had this company going before we came and took it over.
Look, he allowed Kevin Feige and them to run Marvel and finish out the Infinity Saga the way it was they had set it out to do it. I think the only time he kind of stepped in was because he wanted the Black Panther movie. He takes credit for being the guy to say, no, we're doing Black Panther. He does take credit for that. And then Black Panther, by the way, was a brilliant movie. I mean, it's shocking that it was that hard of a thing to make happen, but I mean,
and Tom Holland, right? He takes credit for bringing Tom Holland into MCU from Sony and all that stuff, right?
I don't remember reading that in his autobiography.
Was it Sony, or was it just like Spider-Man in general?
Well, no, it wasn't. Yeah, they brokered a deal with Sony, but Tom Holland didn't work for Sony.
But he made it so that the Spider-Man could make a guest appearance.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah,
I remember seeing a clip of that, and then Tom Holland thanked him, like they were in an interview together or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, to give him credit as far as credit is due there, he did allow that to play out. Now, when it comes to collaborate now you need a vision for where it's going. Marvel has been adrift. I mean, everyone knows it. It's not a secret.
Absolutely.
Marvel's a mess right now. I mean, name one franchise that Bob Iger purchased that is better off now than when he purchased it. I'll wait.
I'm gonna go use
Duffy the Disney Bear. Oh wait,
I don't know.
Disney Bear.
I mean, Star Wars was not doing a lot when he purchased it.
It wasn't doing a lot, but
it ended on a good note.
Yeah, I was going to say, it ended on a good note. The prequels were better received, I would say, than what the
post-squills, or whatever you call them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But, I mean, the promise of Star Wars was always there. Like, if you were going to do another 3 movies, there's not a single movie. The fact that it was mismanaged so terribly, I would say, and even The Mandalorian, which has been successful, I think the elements of The Mandalorian that's been successful has been because we have this great creative think tank of people here coming up with original stories to tell, and we're doing this whole interesting different. No, they're borrowing heavily from the extended universe that has already been written about. Thrawn and the Darksaber.
Oh yeah, the Darksaber. Yeah, all that
they're
stuff.
Just borrowing like stuff that works. It's same thing with
Same thing with Marvel. Yeah, Secret Invasion is a very old story, but matter of fact, I mean, they're not even doing it right in this case, because in the comics, the Skrulls imitate everybody, like superheroes, supervillains. Well, we're not getting that. We're getting a government conspiracy. So therefore, you're already ripping off the viewer from something they could have read about and gotten a more fantastic story with. And that would be my only complaint or caveat with the content. Is like, you have literally fantastic material Like you've handpicked the most out the box stuff that anybody could ever conceive, and your choice is to put it on a service so everybody can view it, but it has the most mundane plot to it.
It's safe.
It is.
It's just safe.
Every show, it's a bunt. It's always, no one swings for the fences.
No, nobody's
one's-
pointing out to left field saying, doing that. Like,
but
Babe Ruth.
everybody wants you to do it because they've seen you do it, and they know based on what they've read or viewed in past instances, they're like, oh yeah, we want to see this. Just give it to us.
That's how you end up with another Star Wars trilogy that the very first movie right off the gate, people are like, that is exactly like the first movie.
I still can't watch that on TBS. It is free. I still can't watch it.
It's rough. It really is rough.
I can't watch it.
All right, so I think now is a good time to revisit Danny's question from that show back in November 22 because I have an answer. So let's let past Danny ask the question again. And now this is in scope between now, Friday, July 14, 2023, to the end of 2026. So past Danny is asking this again.
Speaking of speculation, what would Iger have to do to kind of win you over right now? Like, if there was like the top 2 or 3 things that Iger could do, what would win you over?
So in the course of our conversation, my answer has become this. I want to see 3 awesome decisions come from something that is not data driven, that you're trusting a creative to make, that is a solid story, that comes to fruition and is something that is awesome.
I like how you worded that.
That is what I want.
I felt that.
If you can do that between now and the end of 2026, then yes, I will support whatever the Nike guy wants to call you as one of the greatest CEOs. Sure, why not? So it's like, if
that
you can do that, that's a big stretch because everything we've talked about so far, with it being safe, all the decisions with IP, that is data-driven decisions purely.
Absolutely.
We know it's made money before, and if we capitalize on that, we'll further make money. You know, it's the same kind of concept where people are like, oh, the Disney movies aren't doing so well. Well, they don't really care because Disney will make up the money in the parks. I've read some articles like that. You know, they'll make up with merchandise in the parks. The Little Mermaid, but it's still in the people's minds. So they'll buy Little Mermaid in the parks. Indiana Jones, it doesn't matter. They'll buy Bull Whip in the parks. It'll balance out the fact that the box office things are sagging. But if Iger can approve 3 unknown entities, not data driven, you're just like, yes, damn it, this is a good story. I think this will catch on. If you could do 3, I want 3. You have completely sold me over, and I'll sold it.
Well, okay. Can I take that question and kind of reverse it a little bit? Not the question.
It's your question.
No. I'm sorry. Your answer.
Oh, my answer. Okay.
I want to take your answer and kind of reverse it. Has there been 3 original ideas that has come forth while he's been in charge of Disney that you would say would fit what you're talking about there? Because I would say Coco would fit that bill as a movie that came out. Yeah. Onward and Frozen, I would think would be 3 that resonated with the public. Up?
Moana. No, I didn't say
Moana.
Sorry, I meant yeah. I was like, Moana.
My bad. I thought I said Moana. My bad. Okay. Yeah, so then that's Moana, Coco, and Frozen. Or like maybe the 3 best things that have occurred on his watch?
Yes, but they're capitalizing on it by putting things in the parks based upon those IP. Whereas the reverse, where you have the Haunted Mansion movie, there is already an attraction that has like popularity, and now you're basing a movie upon it. And now there's buzz about Captain Jack Sparrow coming back, and you know that kind of stuff. You know, but if you give me like completely new, just there's no data to back up the fact that this could be successful. If you can do me that, I'm good.
I don't know if I want to give him credit for those, like Frozen and Moana. Like those were somebody else's ideas.
Now, what Rachel just said is exactly how I feel about those. I feel like those are the decisions he wasn't even paying attention to. I don't think he was even remotely involved in paying. I think he thought Frozen was just like a gimme, and that his attention was elsewhere at that point in time.
Until the data said, "Oh my God, this is going to make you money." Yeah,
exactly.
You watch those documentaries. If you've seen the Frozen 2, the making of documentary, I learned a lot about Jennifer Lee, who actually went to my college, UNH. So that was kind of cool.
Hey, shout outs.
Yeah, but she runs Disney Animation now. She was really important in the very first Frozen movie, and then has just continued that franchise, and it's the most lucrative thing that Disney Animation has done in a while. And so when John Lasseter was out, she ended up becoming the successor. But I would give her credit for that. Like, Bob Iger isn't even in that documentary. Like, he wasn't even involved.
You see, I agree. But, I mean, I guess what I was trying to say with regards to that is, like, at least that happened on his watch.
Right.
I suppose. But, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I really don't think that anybody expected Frozen or Moana or Coco to really do well. And still, to this day, like, we're getting a stupid little water attraction for Moana that I don't think anybody wanted. And it's taken them, upwards of
They're
5 years to
it.
build it? I mean, there's still no Coco attraction.
I mean, if we're just looking at the parks, I think in order to be impressive by 2026, he is going to have to make something happen in response to Epic Universe. If he can weather Epic Universe and not have Disney lose a big market share, I think that will be a success.
I would say this. This is hard because I don't think there's a way he can do it because I just don't think it's in his DNA to do it. I mean, look, none of this is going to happen. None of this is going to happen. But I would say make Animal Kingdom a full-day park. No more half-day BS. Really add to Animal Kingdom and make that something that people want to go to.
I like that.
Leave. That would be the other thing that he can do.
Yeah, leave. Just get out of here.
Yes.
No more contract extensions.
Yes.
Let this, 6th contract as Disney CEO? Let this 6th contract as Disney CEO be your last.
Let your people go.
Oh. And lastly, they need to drop the prices in the parks. That's gotta, they really have to do some serious refiguring. They've priced the average American family out of a visit to the parks, and that's shameful. Now, again, like I said, none of this is gonna, my God, the Hatbox Ghost. We still haven't got, they announced that almost a year ago, and we still don't have the damn Hatbox Ghost. The movie's opening in a week.
It seems like the right time.
Yeah. You know, you would think like all the people who are like, okay, I'm going to go to Disney during the summer because this is the time to go to Disney. Summer, that's when everyone has off. You know, that would be one more new thing to see. The Hatbox Ghost. No.
Yeah, my thing is like they installed it pretty quickly at Disneyland.
In a month.
You've done it already.
Yeah. The figures, it's not like they're designing this thing from scratch.
Yeah, it's like the Dumbos. You just copy and paste.
When it came to Disneyland, they announced it like 1 month, and by the next month, it was there.
And no one's going to tell me this is like the Yeti where it's like, oh my God, the structure of the Walt Disney World mansion is so different to where we have to skillfully place the Hatbox Ghost.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, seriously.
No, it's not that freaking hard. But yeah, that's the problem. If Disney was to announce a new land right now, it's not getting built by 2026 might be the earliest you could possibly get something built by.
Sure, yeah. I was just looking up, what is it? Epic Universe supposed to open the 2025?
2025,
right?
yeah.
Summer 2025, yeah.
Okay, it's 2023. It takes them on average about 5 years to build anything. So, yeah.
Iger's got a contract till the end of 2026.
Yeah, 2027 would be the earliest you probably would see something out of Disney. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't want to go. He just can't admit that he can't fix the problem he created. That's my opinion.
Yeah, excellent.
I mean, here's the thing, right? He's there for a couple of years. He's not going to do anything that is relevant to what he did when he was in his peak, right? In his prime. You can't get any more properties that's any more popular than what you've already got. All he can really do is, one, sustain that, and then two, try to figure out how to monetize it. But that's not an easy thing to do. This is my opinion.
No, yeah.
This is not an easy thing to do in a 2-year gap because they have so much stuff going on. There's no way to consolidate all of that entertainment so that, one, the consumer can process it, and then two, they can figure out what's the IP that they need to go to monetize it, and then, like, you know, amp it up in the park. That they can't do all that in that amount of time. So I think that's why they had to keep him there for that much longer so they could see how all of that stuff plays itself out and then look to Bob and say, all right, Bob, what's next? But yeah, there's not too much he could really do to put you over, short of saving money for going to the parks, having better content, because one of the things I've heard is like, oh yeah, we spent too much money for Star Wars shows and, you know, Marvel shows and putting that on Disney Plus, and we're going to cut back. Nah, dude, you need to make cooler content so the fan can be a fan. Like, I didn't need to see all the crazy stuff, all the Lizzo hanging out there with the Mandalorian. I didn't need that. I didn't need that. So I think, to answer your question, he cuts out the prices and he makes the content for the streaming service better, like more fun, like they did in the movies. That would be helpful. I think.
Did you speak your piece, Rachel, on that one?
Yeah, having an answer to Epic Universe. I feel like right now they are so unprepared.
No doubt.
There's just nothing.
No doubt.
There's just nothing. And, there's only going to be so long that Disney can bank on being Disney.
Exactly.
I think that's it right now with the parks. I think they just, and that's what it was before Harry Potter too, right? So before Harry Potter, Disney was Disney and they had the Disney properties. And so they didn't worry about Universal because Universal wasn't Disney and it wasn't going to be a thing. And then Universal got Harry Potter and they realized maybe there are things that can compete with us. And I think that when we get to Epic Universe, we're going to be in a similar situation. There's going to be properties that can compete with them, and they can't just rely on being Disney.
I agree.
Which is good. Competition's healthy.
Yes.
And here's the thing. If you're looking at it from the standpoint of what I'm going to do when I get there, it used to be like, okay, he's just got to go ahead and fix the parks. Parks become too unaffordable. They haven't increased capacity. It's not about fixing the parks anymore, although the parks need help. Lots of help. You got to figure out how to fix Marvel. You got to figure out how to redo Star Wars. You got to figure out how to make Pixar again. Make a Pixar movie an event. Yeah, it's exactly it.
Even if that's even possible anymore.
They have wrecked almost everything. When you see something good, it's almost because you didn't even expect it to be good. Like I just happened to watch it, and oh my God, that actually turned out to be not too bad. The longer they're there, the more they wreck. It's like, get them out now. They've lost touch. You need somebody in that job that's young, hungry, and looking to prove themselves.
Yeah, I mean, as a comic book guy, like that's a dream come true as a kid, right? To say, oh man, all these characters I read in the book, they're out and they're, they live and they're doing their thing. But absolutely, in the case of the what you call it, like woke is just best that I got. I think that just altered the whole playing field.
Well, I think if you can get back to making movies with more of a universal message and less preachy bullshit, I think that would be better.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's fair to just sweep it all under the rug of woke. I think it's just that Disney believes in, they like to say, what is it?
Capitalizing on a moment at a time?
Well, it's a diversity and inclusion. They like to use it. Diversity and inclusion is a fine concept. But your movie shouldn't be structured around that. It should be structured around a story that's universal. Like, if I'm watching Beverly Hills Cop, there's no part of me that's like, yeah, but I identify with Rosewood. I identify with... No, you're identifying with Axel Foley.
Yeah.
If I watch Straight Outta Compton, I'm not saying, oh, Jerry Heller, that's my guy. If I'm watching The Jeffersons, I'm not saying, yeah, I want to be like Tom Willis. Good characters transcend all that. You don't need to address all those issues. You just need to present
good storytelling.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. We've said this on the show
all the time.
Good storytelling will save all.
I test people with this all the time because I got nothing to do on my day job. But whenever someone I talk to about Disney or something, they like, I'll give you an example. A girl asked me about, she said, you like Disney? Did you see The Little Mermaid? I'm like, no, I didn't. Like the new one, the recent one.
Yeah.
What's the girl's name? Halle Berry? It's not Halle Berry.
Bailey. Not
Halle
Berry. Bailey.
That is such a mean trick.
Halle Bailey.
Because it's like, ooh, Halle Berry going underwater.
Well, Halle Berry is, she's special.
She's special. She's beautiful.
Well, she's older now.
Not to me. She always up, Brian.
You like me with Alyssa Milano with that. Yeah.
I'll take that. But it's the thing, like, the girl said, did I see it? And I was like, no, I didn't see it. And she's like, oh, I saw it. I'm like, okay, why did you see it? I'm like, did you see it because you saw the cartoon or you wanted to see how it looked live or you just wanted to see it because, the mermaid was the sister? Say, oh, it's because she's the sister and I had to identify, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, great. Now, when they make another movie of this, or when they just have The Little Mermaid, does that inspire you to see The Little Mermaid, like the property? She's like, no. I'm like, well, see, they lost you right there because you got what you want, but now you're not any more invested in that character to say, I want to know more. And that's where...
That's a brilliant point.
Yeah, well, I know a few things sometimes, but, that's where these stories, they get lost because somebody wants to see a representation of themselves but doesn't understand, to Danny's point, that the character has to be better than that.
It has to transcend just the political. It has to hit the heartstrings of everyone.
Everyone that's there. And that's the thing, right? Like people like the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're like, oh man, you get Miles, he's black, and you get Peter, he's white, and you get, Miguel, he's Hispanic, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you get all of that, but they're all Spider-Man. Like, did you like the stories that they made about them? When they were in the comic books, I didn't know they made comic books. I'm like, well, go read it then. Like, you're not even invested in the person past the one product. And that's the problem.
Or the one aspect.
That one aspect.
The
right.
one aspect, yeah.
That's why, like Superman and Wonder Woman, all these characters that were in the 50s and before. I mean, even Black Panther, dare I say, right? Because there was something that was identifiable about them. And, God rest, Stan Lee's soul, with the X-Men, he was.
I thought you were going to say Chadwick Boseman.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, like, with the X-Men, Stan Lee took that to racism. And he was like, hey, look, this is Malcolm X's group versus Martin Luther King's group. And then here you go. They all just have cool powers. In other words, again, that transcends what you're seeing.
Yes.
There's a depth with people, so it comes, it sounds like it's like a lot of people are too superficial.
In other words, what you're saying is that you don't have to be a Baptist parishioner or a member of the Nation of Islam to identify with the struggles, as long as it's told in a way that everyone can identify. Like, when you watch X-Men, you're like, yeah, what if I was born different?
Right. What if that's the thing? Yeah.
That's the thing. You got to put that person in those shoes.
Right. And you can always have someone who happens to be Muslim, Protestant,
Oh, sure.
Purple hair, orange hair. They got them all in there. But if you don't believe in that product, then it's never going to carry forward. And the stuff that they have here, to bring it back, the stuff that they have here in the Disney Plus that should help to amplify that Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not, because it all falls flat. I mean, we've covered so much stuff on that ad nauseum. No need to do that. But yeah, it doesn't carry true to what it needs to bring it to another generation to identify with these characters.
I wanted to ask Rachel a question real quick before we wrap up here.
Please do.
When you were talking about fixing Disney and stuff like that, were you talking about adding a fifth park to compete with Epic Universe? When you're saying about having to answer Epic Universe, are you talking about a fifth park? Or are you talking about fixing what they have?
I mean, I would like a fifth park, but I think even if they just did some expansions on what they have, they could. I think there's enough that they could do that would be enough to drive people to say, oh, we have to go check out Disney.
I couldn't agree more, because there's a part of me, it's like, for years we've heard rumors about a fifth land based on villains, and you saw that D23 presentation.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, we can just put that in the back of the park. We got room for it. And it's like, well, yeah, do that. Like,
yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah. Like, fine, cool. No need for a fifth park. Like,
let's go beyond.
Fix the parks that you have. Add capacity to what you already have. That would be great.
Do you fall in love with him then? He pulls that off?
No.
There you go.
No. Not a chance in hell. Would I feel a little bit better about it? I guess. They're building something. Something's coming. I don't think it's going to come by, September? I don't think it's going to be coming by September, but something will be coming down the pike. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to be able to say, here, look, this is how we can improve the park situation in the long term, because building this stuff takes time. What is he going to do in the short term? Because if one thing Bob Iger has shown us is that he has no problem maxing out the Disney credit card to buy what he wants, and then figuring out how it'll get paid for later. He's totally fine with doing that. And the way he always did it, and this is part of the reason I don't like him, the way he always figured out a way to pay for things was being like, yeah, you know what? Those people going to the parks, they're not paying enough. Let's figure out a way to monetize it even more. And that's why the average Disney vacation is just unaffordable for a family over 3 people right now. Well, maybe not unaffordable, but I mean, with a lot of sacrifice. It used to be that was the tagline, wasn't it? You'd leave your Disney vacation planning your next one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Now you leave your Disney vacation being like, gee, I really hope we can come back in 3 years.
I hope I got a house when I get it.
They did just bring back the bounce back offers. I don't know that that's making it any more obviously it's making it a little bit more affordable because it's a discount, but it's not big enough that I think it's changing the game. But it is something else that came back.
Well, man, this has been a hefty discussion, and make sure you get in touch with us. We want to hear your points, whether it's in the group or if you shoot us an email, show@magicourway.com, to let us know what you think about all this. Address the question that Danny asked back in November. Is like, what would do it for you to win Iger over to what's his name? The Nike guy, I would say, is one of the world's best CEOs. By the end of 2026, what would he have to do for that?
Just do it.
Just
But
Just leave.
Yeah.
So, guys, look, man, this is one of the few shows that honors every opinion that's out there in the universe. I mean, we don't censor. If you got something, we're going to read it and I'll read it as dramatically as you want me to. I'm good at that. Reading. Yeah, so if you want a dramatic reading, I'll do it. If you just want it read straight, I'll do that too. Just let me know. However you want it.
We got to put modes in how you read stuff?
No, you just need to bring some bongos and back me up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I can just hit the table.
Yeah, you could do that too.
We could make it a new tier in Patreon. You could do a poetry slam.
Yes. Spoken word slam.
I like that.
Tier. I love it.
I like get into our inner creative.
Yeah.
All right.
So, guys, if you want to learn about the other tiers of Patreon, man, or if you want to share your opinions further, man, we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed that discussion about, Iger's extension and all the stuff, man. Look, if you want to learn more about us, go to magicourway.com. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more, even our store. And if you want to get in touch with us, like I said, to share your opinions on any of this stuff, you can do so through the following ways. First, shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com or call or text us at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815-
Weekend
669-4226.
There it is.
There's a lot of S's. 669. I got stuck in the S's. Studio. So my bad.
Thank you, Cobra Commander.
And look, there's a couple of people do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli does things with comics. Eli, what's up, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you. As always, you could go out there on the internet and pay me a visit. www.ivorycomics.com, where you can see everything I've worked on, fully colored, 48 pages. The only ad is for this podcast because it's worth it. So that's less ads you get from Marvel, DC, Image, Boom Studios, Dark Horse. I'm just one guy doing it. You can check out the work I have, Project Geisha, Savages, and The Molly Be Damned. There's also links to this podcast, so you never miss a beat, never miss an episode. All right, so you get all that good synergy in there. So please support the art. And I want to say thanks to Mr. John Marr, the guy that we met, the one kind of the fellow musician.
Yeah.
His son was the Captain America fan, and when he ordered some books, sent that off to him. Emailed him myself because it took me too long, so I threw in the book. That's what I'll do. If it takes me too long, I even give you a book.
He recognizes the fact of what he's done, and he will make it up to you tenfold.
Exactly. Because I care that much.
He's a man of honor.
If you support the art that is taking me so long to craft, I really do appreciate
AMDG, that. Man for others.
That's it. That's how we were raised. That's what we do.
In high school, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So, yes, as always, please support me. Support the arts right there at www.ivorycomics.com. On social media, you can find me out there, facebook.com, Eli H. Ivory, as long as you're a real person. Very lovely to meet you. But if you're a bot, don't need to greet you. I ain't got no more credit cards to be given up to people from countries I can't even pronounce. Get out of here with that. Now, also on Facebook, you can go to Project Geisha. You go facebook.com/Project Geisha. There's also work that I have posted up there, trailers and whatnot. And people do go ahead and post up their likes here, so thank you very much for that. Instagram, EIV504. You can find me there, posting up the hearts and the likes and the reels for the podcast. Just learn how to do that right now, so appreciate the love on that. And, of course, on Twitter, I can be found at Hancock10166. So if you appreciate the madness, you're just bringing me the gladness. Thank you very much.
But look, if you are able to afford a vacation down to any of the Disney parks, please book it through Rachel, because it'll help us. Rachel, how did they do this?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, too, there are still ways to have a family budget vacation. I help people work in budgets all the time. So if you're looking to visit the parks, happy to work with any budget, and you can get in touch with me by emailing me. My email is Rachel, RACHEL, @magicourway.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And my handle is @R, the letter R, Family Magic. So R Family Magic, all one word. And again, that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also just call me. That's pretty easy. And send a text. My number is 978-432-WISH. So I would be honored to help your family plan a trip to Disney, Universal, cruise lines, major hotel brands around the world, wherever it is that you're looking to go, we can help make it exactly what you want and create some magical family memories. So please get in touch with me.
You know, that's a good point. It's like, I think we ought to do some shows and figure out how Rachel handles your budget.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can do that. Yeah.
So guys, look, if you want to access all the info we just mentioned, go to magicourway.com/about us. Also, if you want to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast, go to patreon.com/magicourway. There you'll find 6 awesome tiers, maybe 7. Maybe we'll have that spoken word, poetry, bongos thing that Rachel brought up.
Yeah.
Level.
Yeah.
You know, and do all that for you. Hey, look, do it on Patreon or email us, show@magicourway.com. If you want that tier, we'll give it to you. We'll figure out a price point.
Does that price point include bongo lessons?
He's a natural percussionist.
He's a drummer. Yeah.
You just got to feel it, man.
Yeah.
Wherever the bongos take you, you just got to just hit the heads and just, ooh.
Dude, if there's enough pain, I'll try to sing like, I don't know.
You got to hit the woosah and just like let the bongos go.
Andy Kaufman, like, I think
whatever you want. If it's paid for,
You want to do the Andy Kaufman version, or you could do like the Dave Chappelle version? Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, let me practice on it. But if it's being paid for, on it.
On it, guys. Look, any way you can support us, man, is always appreciated. And we want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So, Mohicans, we say Quaharini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.